When a soul is baptized, that soul is bound to God by a covenantal promise. It's the most sublime moment of one's entire life on earth. God says to the soul, "I will be your God, and you will be my child." God promises in that moment to give us all the grace we will need to live the life of a Christian. Just as a wife takes her husband's name on the day of their wedding, so too do we take on the name Christian when we are baptized. In doing so, we make the promise, or the promise is made for us by our parents and godparents, that we will become other Christs out in the world. To this end, Christians seek to be holy, which requires growth in virtue. Of course, the three theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity are given to us at our baptism, and they grow throughout our lives as we seek to practice them. But as faithful Christians, we must try to acquire and perfect a whole host of other virtues as well. The acquisition of virtue is not like the acquisition of some material good for which we hunt or shop. Rather, virtue is a habit. The virtues are acquired through our endeavoring to practice them. The acquisition of virtue requires our reason, so that we can determine the mean between two extremes, but it also requires a death to self and the turning away from the selfish habits that keep us from being virtuous men and women. Very beautifully, in our Catholic faith, there is no shortage of men and women who have run the race of life well and who have grown in the virtues. We call them the saints. They are our brothers and sisters whose lives are marked with the beauty of heroic virtue. They are people who have been conditioned by the good habits they chose. They are men and women who, through their death to self, show us what becoming like Christ means. The author to the letter of the Hebrews wrote, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us, and persevere in running the race that lies before us, while keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, the leader and perfecter of faith." This great cloud of witnesses is, of course, the saints. And looking at their lives and coming to know them through our prayer and study, we are encouraged to live as they did by truly striving to overcome sin and be holy. As they modeled their lives on Christ, they show us how to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus amidst all the vicissitudes of earthly life. While it can seem nearly impossible to be holy, the saints show us that not only is holiness possible in this life, but that it is so very beautiful. Throughout the course of this series, may we rely upon this great cloud of witnesses so that we too may acquire and grow strong in all the virtues our blessed Lord desires us to have.